I know everybody knows who Sean Hannity is. I've listened to him many times in the past. But truth be known, I'm getting to the point where I can't stand to listen to him anymore. He does full interviews with people like Trump, and so I watch things like that at times. But today, I have to believe that the man is working for the deep state, or worried about his buddies that work for the deep state. Something's going on. Sean Hannity, many times in this interview with Trump, done his best to try to get Trump to say that he would not go after his political enemies. And Trump just told him how it is. Look what they've done to our country. This has to be done. And they've done it to me. So, hey, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. And that's the way I would put it. But it does show me something over this several minute long interview. I cut it into 3 short clips. But it looks like to me, not only is Sean Hannity preferring to just let these guys make it, but he's also worried that it will flip this country on its head by putting a few thousand people out of work. I'm talking about CIA, FBI, top tier agents, and some of the people that were working in the Biden administration that will still hold some kind of power. When Trump gets back in there, he'll have to fire those people, subpoena some of them for criminal charges, and some of them hopefully just straight lock up for their treasonous ways. And I said it, treasonous ways. Now, we've been hearing that word lawfare, lawfare, lawfare a lot lately involving these Trump cases, but truth be known, I think it's more like election warfare. That would be more of a proper term for it if you ask me, because this is not about Trump. This is about making sure Trump doesn't win. This is about making sure that Biden is still able to maintain power for the Democrat Party after November. That's what this is all about. This is not about Trump. This is about their quest to maintain power. The Democrats, the socialists, the idiots in charge right now. But I'm going to play you a couple of things that Trump said, appealing to questions that Hannity had asked him. And then I got a short clip of Andrew McCabe, who is one of the 51 intel agents that cried wolf on Trump about the Russia hoax, who suppressed the laptop, who've done their best to spy on Trump with the Pfizer warrants. Yeah, McCabe's deep in on this stuff. Well, he today, along with many other intel agency officials, are worried that Biden's not going to win. They may have to leave the country or face subpoenas or jail or some kind of criminal charges for the way they've treated, at the time, sitting President Trump. Good video, folks. Stick around. I'll play that a little closer to the end. But let's go ahead and get into some of what Sean Hannity and Trump have got to say this morning.
During the trial in New York, Mother Teresa couldn't beat these charges was one thing that you said, and you turned out to be right. And secondly, you were asked about the possibility that Judge Merchan might send you to jail. You said something that really kind of got my attention. What did you say? That it didn't faze you in the sense that if that's what it takes, you don't have to be doing this. You could be playing golf every day and you probably wouldn't be charged with anything.
Well, I think I say it about almost all of these cases that are brought against me. They are doing it for the purposes of hurting a political opponent of Biden and trying to get him to win, and he's the worst president in the history of our country. But in the case that you're talking about, I said very strongly that I'm very proud to fight for our Constitution, and if that's what it takes. Everybody said, this is such a minor thing. You don't go to jail for this, all of them. But you don't understand what we're dealing against, Sean. We're dealing against a system that is so corrupt. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. I did nothing wrong in any of these things. I did nothing wrong. We did nothing wrong at all. And whether you look at the analysts, whether it's Greg Jarrett or Andy McCarthy or Jonathan Turley or your friend, the great one, Mark Levin, Dershowitz, all of them, they said there's no case here. Judge Janine was so incredible 2 weeks ago. She was unbelievable. Angry. She was angry. And you know why they're angry? Because they love our country and they see what's happening.
You know, he just rattled off about 5 or 6 names there, and I listened to every one of those folks. Just because they are some of the top legal minds in the country, even left-wing Alan Dershowitz, Greg Jarrett, Jonathan Turley, when you want to find out about the lawfare cases, the election warfare cases that are going on against Trump, and get an expert's opinion, those are the experts, for those that don't know, or at least a handful of some of the top experts. Now we're going to cruise a little further into this video here, where it gets down to the meat of what Trump really needs to be talking about, and I'm talking about how he's going to handle the future of the country once he gets in there and has the ability to get rid of these clowns and cowards that have been coming after him since day one.
Top secret documents. Nobody raided his house. That, I guess, we've added a new word to our lexicon, and that is lawfare, or weaponization of justice.
That's right.
My question to you is, and people are saying, actually because of an interview we did together, you said, I would be dictator for the day and just to secure the border and drill for oil. I thought it was tongue-in-cheek. I was sitting there with you. However, my question is a very serious one. You know, people are claiming you want retribution. People are claiming you want what has happened to you done to Democrats. Would you do that ever?
I would want retribution. Just being honest, folks, for as much as they put this man through, he has to go after them. That's just a fact, folks. Otherwise, he'll look weak, and they'll continue to do it to not just him, but every other Republican that ever tries to rise in the ranks.
Look, what's happened to me has never happened in this country before, and it has to stop because...
Wait a minute. I want to hear that again. It has to stop.
Well, it does have to stop because we're not going to have a country
And if you're
anymore.
elected, what does that mean? Define that.
Look, what I've gone through, nobody's ever gone through. I'm a very legitimate person. I built a great business. Everything's been... I have been under siege. Nobody's ever seen anything like this in this country. Now, in other countries, in other third world countries, or banana republics, as they say, a banana republic, we've become a banana republic. At the border, we've become a banana republic. With so many other elements of our country, we've become a banana republic. You take a look at what's happening with inflation. That's a banana republic inflation, what we have. I think it could be as high as 50%.
Now we're going to get back into the answer to the question that I'm really bringing you all this video about. It's about the retribution, the reckoning coming, the hopefully justification of how these people are going to be held accountable for the way they've treated not just Trump, but the American people, the Catholics, the anti-abortion people. There's so many people in this country that have been targeted by our federal government, by the Merrick Garlands of the DOJ, that we have got to root this stuff out, stem and stern, no doubt about it. Now, right here at about the 9.5-minute mark, folks, he does get into the question one more time. Sean Hannity's really kind of drilling him on the whole weaponization thing. He's trying to get Trump to give a definitive answer.
16, 17, or 18 million people. You're going to have over 20 million people, I think, I believe, and a lot of other people too, by the time he hopefully gets out. November 5th, Election Day, will be the most, and by the way, it starts on September 22nd. It starts earlier because of early voting. But November 5th will go down as the most important election in the history of our country. It's going to be the most important day and period in the history of our country.
Will you pledge to restore equal justice, equal application of our laws, end this practice of weaponization? Is that a promise you're going to make?
You have to do it. But it's awful. Look, I know you want me to say something.
No, I don't want you to say. I'm asking.
But I don't want to look naive.
I don't want
what they've done to the Republican Party.
You know, this is kind of a shit interview from Sean Hannity. It almost seems like he's asking Trump the questions that he's trying to get a solicited answer about deportation, about the abortion issue, and about not the election, but about the lawfare, and what Trump will do if he does win. All of these things are loaded questions which need to be discussed. But the way Sean Hannity presents them all, I don't think I'll be watching too much more Sean Hannity. I think Sean Hannity I don't believe he's neutral anymore. I believe he is probably a part of the Rhino establishment, along with his bosses, the Murdochs.
They want to arrest on no crime. They want to arrest the person that won the nomination in a landslide. There was nobody even close in a landslide. The person that got millions of votes, more votes than any other sitting president in history in the last election. The person that won an election that he wasn't expected to win against Hillary Clinton in 2016. They want to arrest that person on no crime. They want to arrest, there was no crime. There was no criminality, there was no crime. And you can go back to all of these legal scholars. They can't believe what's happening. Some of them don't even like me, and they're saying this is a very, very dangerous thing that's happening. No, we can't let this happen. And I will do everything in my power not to let. But there's tremendous criminality here. What they're doing to me, if it's going to continue, we're really not going to have much of a country left. It is weaponization. You call it lawfare, you call it, some people call it just warfare. But it is weaponization of the election. And we're talking about, I think, the most important election in the history of our country. This will go down, I believe, as the most important election in the history of our country. We can't have this stuff go on. Because you know what? When Biden goes out, everyone says bye-bye, and then he gets indicted 2 days later and they go after him. The country doesn't want that. And you know what? They didn't want it with Hillary Clinton either.
Well, I agree with Trump on about 99% of everything he says. But I think he's wrong. I think about 70% of the country would love to see Joe Biden go to jail 2 days after he leaves office. And as far as the Hillary Clinton thing, lock her up is not just a hashtag. The American people would be better off if Hillary Clinton never put her money-grubbing hands on anything involving politics again. And that's just a fact, folks. That's the end of the interview there, but I have got a Gateway pundit, Nervous Cat, otherwise known as Andrew McCabe. He claims that certain FBI agents are worried about Trump getting back in power. What it is like Bill Maher said yesterday, Joe Biden's going to lose. No matter what, Joe Biden's going to lose. And on that note alone, I think they're worried. The intel agencies don't know what to do. They've shit on Trump. They've lied about Trump. They've done their best to take Trump out. He's still in the game. And he's coming back. We got 151, 152 days left, folks, and it will be time to change the trajectory of this country. Be another month and a half or so before we actually get our president back in office. Become first week of January, second week of January, this country will be getting ready for some executive orders that take all of Biden's executive orders and throws them in the trash can. That'll be the dumpster fire we're all looking forward to. All right, folks, we're going to get into this. Now, this is, like I said, Andrew McCabe. And I'll tell you a little bit about him after we listen to his little crybaby, worrisome pee down his leg, salty tears.
It's great to have you here because few people know the inner workings of the FBI better than you do. And you've also personally experienced the pressure from Donald Trump. And when you see him promising this wholesale takeover of the Justice Department, I wonder how you worry about what that would look like.
Yeah, Caitlin, I mean, I worry a lot about it. And I think it's, when you think about these things and you try to predict how Donald Trump is going to react or the steps he's going to take, you really don't have to go any further than listening to the things he says and does. I mean, his comments recently are.
What about the actions of the department that you actually work for, Mr. McCabe? I'm talking about the folks that work under you that are in process of putting Steve Bannon in jail, Peter Navarro in jail, so many other Trump supporters in jail. They don't seem to have a problem with locking people up immediately if it's the other team, but they're panicking and worried over their own criminality. Maybe someday come back to bite them in the ass, so they're going to have to flee the country. Well, we'll just have to extradite their ass back to this country with subpoena power. That's what they're afraid of, folks. They're not afraid of Congress coming in and answering questions before those clowns because they know there's no legal precedence to throw the law at people due to what they say in Congress. But when you put them before a real judge, a real attorney general, and ask these very same questions that these folks all lied about, they're in more trouble than being in contempt of Congress. They'll be in trouble for the real criminality that they involved themselves in, including, I'm going to say it, words like treason. All right, let's go ahead and finish this video on out.
Are offensive and horrendous, but they're not surprising in any way. He's been saying this for quite some time. I will be your retribution is his refrain to his supporters. So, you know him, you know what motivates him. He is not a person who's driven by principle or ideology. He is someone who's entirely transactional. And if he feels like he's been wronged in some way, then he focuses on revenge and vengeance. And so he's made it perfectly clear that that's what he's going to do. And in the process of seeking that, he is going to he runs the risk of really dismantling and greatly incapacitating the Department of Justice and the FBI. And that is something that Americans on both sides of the political aisle should be worried about.
Yeah.
We depend on those institutions to protect us.
Well, what do you think
and he is proposing to tear them down.
What do people inside the FBI think when they hear a comment like that?
It's terrifying. It's frightening. I have a lot of conversations with former colleagues, people who are or were in the intelligence and law enforcement community and may have worked in, the Obama administration, other places. And, people are really trying to assess, what is life going to be like if Donald Trump wins a second?
You hear that? All the Obama administration guys that were put in place during the Obama administration, they're the ones that are worried. Did you catch that?
Term. And on a very personal level, these are torturous discussions with their family members about whether or not they have to leave the country to avoid being unconstitutionally and illegally detained. People are actually worried about being thrown in jail or grabbed in some sort of extrajudicial detention. Good. And I think, as crazy as this sounds in the United States of America, I think people should really consider that these are possibilities. Listen to what the man says. He typically does what he says, as crazy as it seems. And that's really all the indicators you need.
He usually does what he says and says what he does. And we are worried shitless. We're thinking about leaving the country because we're worried about subpoenas and detention. They know they done screwed up, folks, and they don't see a way out of this situation. Trump puts an attorney general in there like Kash Patel. It's over for these folks. They will all be doing subpoenaed, sequestering, jury selection coming up for their upcoming trials. That's what will happen, folks. We will have 150 cases of treason against the 2016-2020 president to 2020 president, Donald J. Trump. And be pretty easy to prove criminality on most of these folks. We've got documentation about how they lied, all coordinated together to get Trump out. This helped between the Durham probe, the Russia hoax, the censoring of the laptop, the controlling of Twitter, the attacking of Trump still to this day behind false allegations and bullshit, this election warfare. It's all blowing up in their face. They played their hand, folks, and they're about out of this game. They have nothing left but to discard for the loss. That's what I believe, folks, and I believe that they're trying to figure out how they're going to handle it. They're now on damage control because they don't believe they can win at this point. They don't think they can win, and that's where the head of the intel agencies, who would probably know, have a pretty good metric on the real numbers as far as Joe Biden's support. These people are petrified because they know, just like Bill Maher said, Joe Biden's gonna lose. That's all I got for you, folks. But that is a little bit of good news. We got Trump on Hannity, and we got this Caitlin Crab Cakes is what I call her. Speaking to Andrew McCabe, another CNN crony, contributor, FBI agent. Kind of funny how they bring all the FBI agents on CNN, while CNN gets their marching orders from the intel agencies. Kind of funny how that works hand in hand. Like, subscribe, and share to Voted Patriots. Hopefully everybody's having a great day. Over and out.